sewing friends, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Beth, and if you're new, welcome. I made a video recently about baskets on point. I showed you how to make this little block, and my quilt is finished and I can now hang it on the wall, and I'm really looking forward to hanging it so I can enjoy it every day. So I'll take you through the steps to finish this little quilt and hang it on the wall. Let's get going. After getting my quilt sandwiched together, I quilted lines following the squares of my basket squares in the quilt. And then after getting it all quilted, I cut my binding. I cut my strips 2 inches, which is a little bit smaller than I normally do for a bed-size quilt. I'm going to attach it to the front of the quilt. And then after getting it attached all the way around, I rolled it around to the back, folding the raw edge in, and I pinned all the way around. After getting it all pinned around, I took my needle and thread and did a little blind stitching all the way around my quilt. After getting my binding all sewn down, I measured across the width of this quilt. I want to make a casing for a very small dowel so I can hang this quilt up. And I cut my casing just a little bit longer than the quilt itself and rolled over each end 2 times. And then I took my sewing machine and just finished each of those ends with a seam. I did not match the thread. I was too lazy to get some dark blue thread. That would have been better to do, but I don't think anybody's going to be looking at the back of my quilt. So after getting my ends folded in twice, I put a little seam there so that all the raw edges were inside. I just pressed each of those side edges in to get it ready to put on the back of my quilt. Pulled out my needle and thread, and again I'll do a little bit of hand sewing. I will attach my casing on the back with the needle and thread. I'll sit down and have a little peaceful sewing time, and then I'll be almost ready to go. Now that my casing is all sewn down, I have a dowel that's 1/4 inch wide, and you purchase these long, so you have to trim them. I just laid it on the top of my little quilt. I got a pencil and I marked the end where I need to cut, and I used a small little saw and I cut along that line. It's really easy to do, takes very little time. And then once it's cut, I got a little sandpaper and just sanded the end. It's probably not necessary, but I did that. I put it in the casing of my quilt, and I am ready to hang it. So thank you for joining me today. It's always nice to sew with you, and I will see you next time.